Hello and welcome to the Art and Business and Murals podcast. And I am your host, Sarah Scully. And today's episode is called How to Create an Art Business Planning Weekend. This is my favorite weekend of the year. And for those of you that are tuning in on YouTube, if I ever get the videos up on YouTube, you will notice that I am in Melbourne. So you can see the skyline, or more so, buildings out the window, and I am on my planning weekend away. Now, I recognize that this is a very privileged position that I'm in, and I don't expect everyone to fly to a different state to do their planning weekend. I came here with my husband to go see the MJ musical because Michael Jackson is like the best person ever. And it was a birthday gift. And then I just said to my husband, no, you go home. I'm just going to stay a couple of days longer. And then it turned into my planning weekend. Woo! So I am going to take you through how to put together a planning weekend, what you should be looking at in your business, and what the outcomes should be from your planning weekend. So imagine a weekend just for you. No clients, no deadlines, no kids, no distractions, just space to think, dream, and plan your art business. So I started doing or making space for business planning weekends a few years ago when I was really struggling to find the time or the space to dream bigger. I felt like I had so many ideas in my head, but I never really found the time to really think them through or really imagine what they could become. Also, to check whether they were financially viable. So I felt like my head was constantly in the business rather than looking at the business from the outside. I would try and schedule a day here and there or a few hours here and there to spend on the business, but that time would always get eaten up with client deadlines or family commitments or last second house renos when the water heater blows up, and there goes my planning day. So for me, leaving my home and or my studio to plan, that means that I'm also leaving my clients behind, and I'm leaving my housework behind, and I'm leaving all the guilt behind. I'm leaving the house renos, or I'm leaving the what's for dinner question behind. And like as I said before, I do understand that it's a really privileged position to be in, to be able to book a hotel or an Airbnb for a night, and not everyone has that luxury. If money is really tight at the moment, you could potentially contact some Airbnb places and offer a free mural in exchange for 4 free nights of accommodation. So then you can spend 2 days painting and 2 days planning. Just an idea. I have some more ideas on how you could escape the daily routine, and I'll include them below. So at the moment, I'm in Melbourne, but usually I plan this getaway at a high-rise hotel on the beach at Markula on the Sunshine Coast. So it's only about 15 minutes away from my studio. So it's very much a staycation. I like that because then I don't panic about forgetting things. And it's right on the beach. So I always make sure that I set a timer each of the days. And when the timer goes off, I get up and go for a walk along the beach. If I don't set the timer, then I will just continue to work on my business for like 12 hours straight, and then I will have forgotten to eat and drink and move, and I'll be like all crunchy and gross. So I strongly suggest, if you also get in a flow state very easily, maybe set some timers throughout the day to remind you to eat and drink and move. Hopefully you don't get as stuck as I do. But I always come back from these planning weekends really confident in my goals and in the direction that my business is headed. It saves me from questioning the direction I'm headed, and I just know um, each of the steps that I need to take to get there. I feel like there's so much more clarity around what I'm doing. I feel a lot more motivated and confident in what I'm doing, and there's focus. Now, this is like, okay, don't laugh at me, but I pretty much wear the same outfit every day. I know that sounds super boring, but it's like just really comfortable tights that like go all the way up and they suck everything in. Super, super comfortable. Great if I need to just go for a like really quick, speedy jog. Also great if I need to just quickly climb up a ladder to do a mural. Also super great if I'm teaching. Also super great if I'm just sitting at the desk working. So versatile. I like how I'm justifying my outfit choices. So every day I wear a pair of those tights. I also wear the same singlet. Yes, I have about 20 of the exact same singlet. Um, and the reason why I do this is because it's one less decision I have to make every day. So Monday to Friday, same tights. Well, obviously, same type of tights. I wash them at the end of each day. Same type of tights, same type of singlet. Bam. I don't have to make any decision. I just grab it and go. And this is the same thing with your business planning. You put the time and energy into effort into planning it on this weekend so that when you are stuck with your head inside the business, doing the client work, having to make the decisions on projects, you already know your direction because you spent the time on it during this weekend. So, in this episode, I will cover why a planning weekend matters so much, how to organize one, what to actually do on the planning weekend, and how to come home with a plan that you'll actually stick to. So, why do you need a business planning weekend? I kind of touched on this in the intro, didn't I? That was a very long intro. But we as artists tend to spend so much time creating and doing, and not so much time planning. It's so easy to get your head in the creative space. It's almost like it's stuck in this creative cloud, and then you've got to make a conscious effort to like pull it out of that cloud and step back and really look at what you're doing. So we're constantly trying to meet deadlines and hustle for the next project. We're creating and building, but we're seldom planning or looking to the future. So getting away helps you zoom out and see the bigger picture of your business and also what other people around you that are doing really well are doing. It gives you an opportunity to stop and really look into what they're doing. It takes you away from the shoulds and puts you in a bubble away from your emails, away from phone calls, away from everything to really think about you, your business, and your values. It's also a really great opportunity to have a bit of a rest because a rest is nice, a forced rest. A weekend away gives you space to be able to ask things like, where do I actually want to go with my art? What's working and what's not working in the business? What do I need more or less of in the business? So the first time I did this weekend away for planning, I realized that I was spending so much energy on a few things that did not align with my goals. One massive time suck was investing so much energy and brain space into social media. But I had never really stopped to reflect on how many projects and sales had actually come through social media. I worked out that it was less than 5% of my income. I was spending way more than 5% of my working week on social media. So that's not a good return. And I really stepped a little bit further away from social media and took a lot more of my time back in my business. So, how do you plan a weekend away to work on your business? Step number one, choose a location. So go somewhere quiet, somewhere that's inspiring and slightly out of your normal routine. So this could be like a coastal cabin, a mountain cottage, or an Airbnb somewhere. As I mentioned, I stay in a high rise, which is actually an Airbnb room in a high rise hotel um, at Markula on the beach. It doesn't need to be fancy though. It just needs to be peaceful. And you don't necessarily have to stay away in a hotel. You could go to the library for 2 days in a row and book yourself a desk there. As one of the members of the group coaching program said at the group coaching yesterday, she likes to go work in the library because it's super boring there and she's forced to actually work. Um, you could house sit for a friend while they're away. So there you go. There's one way to escape your home and your space and jump into someone else's home to give yourself that space. You could go to Starbucks for a couple of days in a row. Just make sure that you've got your noise cancelling headphones because it does get a bit loud in there. This is my dream place to go for planning. is a cruise ship because you're stuck out there for like 3 days minimum, cruising. Someone feeds you, like you get all your food. It's just there. You just have to go get your food and then you got it. So you don't have to plan any of the food stuff. It's just there. The only thing is you got to pay for internet if you want to like do research and stuff. But that's like my dream place. Or and you could look out the window and see whales. Oh my goodness, that would be amazing. So it's my dream planning space. Maybe one day. Or you could lock yourself in your studio. So if you have a separate studio from your home, or even a door to your studio inside your home, you could set boundaries with all the people in your family or all people that have access to your studio and just say, look, I'm doing 2 days of planning for my business in a row. So from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m., no one is to come near this room. This is my planning room. Just pretend I'm not here. I wonder if you could sleep in there too. So people can just pretend you're not in the home, and that way you won't be bothered. That's an option too. Now, the other option is, do you go solo or do you go with a creative friend? Now, for me, I much prefer to go solo because I'm pretty boring when I do work stuff. Like I'm just in my own head so much. And I like to just sit there in my pajamas with no bra on and do this. So no one wants to be sitting next to me doing that. But if you are with someone else, choose someone that's supportive and not distracting. This would be great, in particular, if you're a neurodiverse and you are quite productive when you have a body double. So you have someone else in the room. They don't necessarily have to be helping you or doing the same thing as you, but if they are just in the same room as you, it can help you be really productive. Great idea, but you need to ensure that you set boundaries and time block your weekend with work time and downtime so that everyone that is there is on the same page about when they're working and when they can relax. I dream of a planning and creative retreat where we could like go away for like a conference, all these artists, and we just work our way through all the areas of the business and we're all well and truly caffeinated and we just kind of have all these creative ideas and do all the planning together. In all honesty, though, I don't think I'd get anything done because it would just be too exciting to be around other artists. So that's step one, choose your location and your buddy if you have one. Step two, set your intentions. So get clear on what you actually want from the weekend. So some examples of this are, do you want to plan your next 12 months ahead in business? So looking at what projects you have coming up, what clients you want to work with, and how you might approach them. Do you want to plan some collections for the next year or some solo shows that you want to book in coming up, or art fairs or travel, or do you want to brainstorm new income streams? This would be a great opportunity for you to work out their feasibility and really think about whether you would enjoy doing them. A great example of this, and I've spoken about this before, is when I thought that I wanted to do like a monthly subscription where I send out like an artwork every month. And then when I actually boiled it down, and I did this on one of the planning trips actually, and looked at the cost of printing and the time it would take to design it and print it and pack it each month, and then how many people I'd need to subscribe, and then what my hourly rate would be, and then the postage cost. I worked out all the numbers and it worked out to something absurd. Like it would take a couple days worth of effort each month, but I would need something like thousands of subscribers to make a decent profit from it. So that was a boom. No, don't do that. Some other things that you could plan for your planning weekend could be reconnecting with your creative why. Like, why do you have your art business? You could also look at building your confidence or refining your pricing. Looking at numbers is a really big part of my planning. I'll talk about that in a little bit. So that's setting your intentions. Step number 3 is to gather your tools. Don't forget all your stuffs. So you'll need a notebook or a journal, or if you're like me, bring your creative business development workbook, which I work out of every single year, so it's a bit scraggly looking. But this is just a workbook. I'll put the link in the show notes, and it kind of works you through all areas of your business that you really should have a fair understanding about, which is like target market, your pricing, your expenses, your why, your goals. It's got a calendar in there for the 12 months ahead, a ton of stuff. So notebook or journal or creative business notebook, or if you're like me, all of those. You'll also need your laptop or your iPad, but no email, close the email program. But you will need access to the internet in case you need to research other artists or research EOIs coming up or gallery shows or street art call outs or it's research purposes. And also, if you want to do a mood board, you'll need that to find images, unless you've got like magazines you can bring. You'll also need sticky notes and colored pens and colored highlighters. That's the best part, highlighters. You will need your financials. So if you're using an accounting program like Xero or QuickBooks or 17 Hats or Henry, it'll have a breakdown of your finances for the last 12 months. So get a summary of that and bring that along. You'll also need a calendar or your planner. So one of the artists in my group coaching program, Imelda, has this massive big calendar, which I happen to design. And next year's calendar will be coming out soon. It's free to download, and you just print it yourself. That will probably be out by the time this episode comes out, and I'll put the link in the show notes. So printing out this calendar and putting everything onto it. I have a planner, so I bring my planner for the next year along and I can write everything into there directly. And you can also use the planner in the Creative Business Development Workbook too. You'll also need snacks. Snacks are pretty important. So tea, coffee, comfy clothes, a good playlist. For me, I don't have a playlist that I bring unless I go for a walk on the beach. But the last time I did this program, this weekend planning program, it was it was the weekend that someone tried to assassinate Donald Trump. And so I just had the news on in the background because the news was running like 24/7 following this assassination attempt. And it was just really nice to have that dull noise in the background. This is how I remember this stuff. And then the planning weekend before that, which was like a year prior, the Formula One was on. So I just had like Formula One in the background. That was great too. Just such a light noise. But anyways, I digress. And then optionally, you could bring like vision board supplies. So magazines, glue, scissors, if you want to make a vision board for yourself. If you're like downloading images from the internet, might be a bit hard to bring a whole printer. You might need to pre-plan that one. I'm not quite sure. So just quickly going back, notebook, laptop, sticky notes, colored pens, highlighters, financials, calendar or planner, snacks, comfy clothes, vision board supplies. Very important stuff. So, what do you do during the weekend? That's a great question. Day one, I believe, should be reflecting and recharging. It is okay to rest on this weekend. Rest is so important. Without you being top of your game, your business is not anything. You need to be rested and rejuvenated. So don't just jump straight into planning. I normally book Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. I get a massage when I arrive on the Friday night. So I have a super good sleep that night and I'm raring and ready to go on the Saturday morning. So take your time and slow down first. You could do some gentle journaling prompts. If journaling makes you want to vomit a little bit, you could take voice notes or you could just dot point these questions. So some of the journaling prompts could be, what worked well this year? What didn't work or felt draining? What am I proud of? What do I want of more in my creative life? And if you have a memory like a sieve, like I do, then when I try and think about what worked well this year and what didn't work well, and I go, what did I do this year? I don't remember. Then I go back to Instagram and I scroll back through the last 12 months on Instagram because I document a lot of what I do there. So that will remind me of what I did, and I'll kind of go, oh, yes, I do remember. I enjoyed that project. I did not enjoy that project. Not doing that one again. So that might help you as well. Then on the first day, make sure that you do something that's grounding, something that you really enjoy. So it might be go for a walk if you're out in the forest, maybe just go for a walk through the forest. I like to go for a walk on the beach. You could do some meditation, some sketching, maybe, or some reading, or you could do some reading by the pool. That sounds lovely. This first day is about reconnecting with yourself, and it's not about your to-do list. So give yourself some space. Day number 2, this is your dreaming and planning day. This is when you start to map out the next phase. I have to look at notes from my last planning session from the last weekend, and I cross off a lot of the goals that I've actually reached or the to-do list that I've written, and I cross everything off that I've done, which makes me feel really good about myself. This is a great opportunity to do a vision board or brainstorm for the next 12 months. So this is your opportunity to get all those ideas that have been, banging around in your head and get them out onto paper. Even if you dot point them or if you do a mind map or however you get them out of your head, just get them out of your head and into your sketchbook or your workbook. This is when you can split your goals into 3 categories. So you could have art goals. This could be things like exhibitions, murals, new collections, art fairs, any work travel that you want to do, festivals, upcoming EOIs. So my art goals for the next 12 months are to finish building the studio at home, ready to open up for the Sunshine Coast Open Studios, to support my fellow directors at the Women on the Wall to develop and run a festival overseas. I can't talk much about it until it's all locked in, but that's what we're working towards. And then I also want to increase school work with murals. So you got your art goals there, and then you want to look at your business goals. So things like pricing updates, website refreshes, email marketing lists, building them, sending them out consistently. I usually update my website with new portfolio pieces during the actual planning weekend because I find it's just faster to do it than to actually write it down to do it. I revisit my pricing and look at potentially increasing pricing, and I compare it to other artists as well. I also look at my expenses and where I can cut costs. This is a big one, like the number of subscriptions that you sign up to and then forget to unsubscribe to. This is the chance to just unsubscribe to them. So I go through my bank statement and I look at all the expenses and I go, okay, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. And save myself a lot of money by getting rid of a lot of subscriptions. I plan my podcast episodes and what artists I want to interview. I do put a lot of energy and effort into planning the episodes, and then I proceed to not follow any of that plan. I look at my marketing and what kind of marketing I'm going to do for the year. So if I plan to have a show later in the year, then I also start to plan the marketing and put it into the calendar. If I don't put it into the calendar, it doesn't happen. So plan the marketing, pop it in the calendar. And then I'm still trying to build my own passive income streams. That's always going to be a goal of mine, I think, forever. And then the third category of goals is self goals. So rest, health, boundaries, creative play, and workshops. Workshops as an attendee, not as someone that's running them. So developing yourself, PD. So I schedule in any travel that I was planning to do. So for me, travel is really, really important to myself and my family. So we always try and travel somewhere throughout the year. So I put that in first. And then I put in my holidays. So I usually try and take time off around the school holidays because, parenting. And then I try and put in like the next 3 months of gym and sports tournaments and sports sessions and all that kind of stuff so that I'm prioritizing my health. I put in my psychologist appointments a year ahead. I know that's crazy, but she's super organized and I love it. So all these really important things to keep me on track and my health and well-being as a priority. I put these into my diary, and if they're in there, I don't waver from them. Um, what else? Oh, I like to find creative workshops to do for myself as well. This is something that I really struggle to find time outside of this planning weekend to do. But I have certain workshops that I've been like eyeing off, and now I'm like, yeah, just book them. Just book them. And I book them in, I put them in the calendar, even if they're like 6 months away. I love planning things. And then the 6 months is super fast. And then I'm like, yes, now it's time for my quilting workshop. No, I'm not going to do quilting. No, I don't like quilting. Anyways, so once you've got your goals sorted into the three categories, then you want to narrow down to your top three priorities or goals for the next quarter. So these could be financial goals for the next 6 to 12 months or 3 months. Could be releasing a range of dropshipping prints. You want to get that range painted and scanned and up on your website and a marketing plan put together. It could be to open your first solo exhibition or your 10th solo exhibition. Could be setting up your own studio or launching a range of workshops. What excites you? So what are your three top priorities for the next quarter? Then you need to map out your action steps for each of those. So if you want to run workshops, what's the first small step you need to do to get the ball rolling with that? And then just write down teeny tiny steps. And then if you read through those steps and you find them overwhelming or too big, or you feel intimidated by them, break them down even further. So rather than I want to run workshops, what's the first step? Advertising on social media. That feels like a lot. So maybe it is looking at supplies for the first workshop or going to the art shop to research supplies. So break down your steps even smaller if they feel too much. Oh, this is probably one of the most important ones, even though everyone's going to like barf a little bit. Include a money date. So review your income streams. Your accounting software will break down your income into different streams. So if you're diversifying like a smart artist would, you can see where your money is coming in from. So you might have murals where you've got money coming in, you've got art sales coming in, you might be doing freelance graphic design on the side, you might be teaching, you might be running workshops, you might be mentoring, you might, or you maybe have an Amazon affiliate, which I do, and apparently I made an okay amount of money from it last year. Who knew? Anyway, look at your income streams and analyze them. Look at what's profitable and look at what's draining your energy. So are those $400 workshops that may take 8 hours of preparation and 2 hours of running and 8 hours of marketing with only $200 profit, are they really worth it? Or are you very passionate about them and it's not about the money and you want to keep doing them? So really critique what you're doing in your business and is it worth it? Decide what to focus on. So what gets the butterflies in your tummy going? The potential to travel to street art festivals or creating your own festival, creating a new collection, entering into an art fair, becoming an artist coach, more training in oils. What gets you excited? Okay, and this one is optional. I like to do this because I'm like a super duper, super, super awesome planner, and I hope that you will be too soon. But this is optional. Plan 3 months of content ideas or campaigns. So I like to, as I mentioned before, plan out my podcast episodes very thoroughly and then ignore all my planning. I also like to put in any upcoming like holidays or events or anything like that into the calendar so that my social media output reflects that. I put in any projects that are coming up so that I can then do the marketing leading up to them if I need to, and then obviously the marketing after I've done them as well. And the last one, coming home and staying accountable. So don't just leave your notes in your notebook. I know what it's like because I do it too. You take all these amazing notes and then you close your notebook and you don't look at them again until you plan. No, 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 no. They need to be in front of your face. So turn them into an action plan. Add goals to your calendar or your planner. For me, that really works. Or your Google Calendar, or a spreadsheet, or an Asana board, or whatever is in front of your face. I like to put them on post-it notes, so I add them into my planner, dun, 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 and then I put post-it notes, fluoro colored, and write them onto there, my goals onto there, and with deadlines, of course, because timely. And then I put them right in front of my face in the studio, so I can't miss them. Check in monthly. So what's progressing? What needs adjusting, what's feeling ick. Sometimes you're like, yeah, I'm totally going to facilitate these amazing workshops where you play with clay and smush it into I don't know, the shape of the sun. And you're like, yeah, great idea. Really feasible. Let's do it. And then you run one of them and you're like, ugh, no, never doing that again. So you need to check back in and see if that's working for you. And it's okay to be like, nope, that one failed. Don't do that again. That's totally okay. That's business. Um, and if you need to, you can put those monthly check-ins in your planner so you don't forget them, or set them up on your Google Calendar with a little alert that goes, monthly check-in time. And you could do it at a time that you know that you've got like time to stop. Like it could be like Friday at 5 p.m. You're like, oh yes, quickly, half an hour, let's check in. Stick your vision board or your word of the year where you'll see it daily next to those post-it notes, I would think. And schedule in your next planning weekend if you can. Even if you don't pay for the hotel or anything, you might have to save up for it. You can still put it into your calendar, looking at where the quiet times of the year are. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about giving yourself permission to slow down and dream strategic. Oh, goodness, as you can tell, we're getting to the end of the episode. To dream strategically. Yes, Sarah, you're doing it. Okay, let's wrap this up. Clearly, I need to. So looking at the benefits from your art business planning weekend, this will give you space. It will give you clarity on where the business is heading and how it is heading there. And it will give you renewed motivation. You can't pour from an empty creative cup while you've got your head stuck in your business. It's so hard to pull it out and look from the outside and really critique what's going on in your business. If you've been feeling stuck or unsure about what's next in your art business, take a weekend away or even just one night and give yourself the space to think big again. This is the exciting part of owning a business. I know I talk a lot about the things that are like hard, but this is the fun part. This is why we have businesses, because we can turn them into whatever we want. Do you know, at the beginning of my career, I was a graphic designer. And now, because of me and all of my hard work and my vision and my planning and my strategic movements, I am now a street artist. Dun, dun, dun. So, if you want guidance on what to plan or how to turn your ideas into actions, come join my creative business group coaching program. It's full of artists just like you building sustainable, thriving art careers. Or if you'd like to manage your business plans yourself, don't worry, I get it. I'm like that. I do have the creative business development workbook that I mentioned in this podcast episode that I use to develop my ideas and plans for my business. I'll put a link to this in the show notes. And I'll also link to the group coaching program. And the group coaching program is great because you tell me your goals, you tell me your deadlines, you tell me your steps, and I hold you accountable to them in a very gentle way at first. But then over time, if you don't meet them, I get aggressive and I aggressively hold you to your goals, but still in a friendly way. So, if you have planned your weekend or are planning your weekend, please send me photos and insights and all your things on Instagram. I would love to see what you do on your planning weekends. There is nothing that excites me more than seeing someone's workbook with highlights and goals. It's strangely exciting for me. Okay, until next fortnight, have a great time.